As teams round out their coaching staff, the New York Jets have hired Frank Reich as their head coach and quite likely soon to be interim head coach. And excuse me, they've hired him as their offensive coordinator, and probably by week 6 of next year, their interim head coach. Why are you laughing at that?
Shady, bro.
What are you talking about?
You two dudes, I forgot the pain y'all have endured for the last 2 decades. So congratulations, Frank. You deserve it. I'm fired up for you. I know you're going to do a good job, Green.
He was the head coach in Carolina for how many games? I'm just trying to remember that.
Get out of here. Get out of here. You were so bad,
D-Wood, Frank Reich, offensive coordinator, Jets, go.
Listen, I actually think it's a good move.
It is.
Because he's a veteran guy. Frank Reich, as a play caller, I think would do a pretty doggone good job.
Yes.
Obviously, they just got to figure out the quarterback situation, but there are pieces on that offense for the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see how that goes. We'll just move on from there. Let's just do. I mean, you've got me in a bad mood now. You've denigrated the flu game. I haven't recovered. Tim Hasselbeck, let's do QB quick reads. Todd Monken as head coach. What does this mean for the future of Shedeur Sanders?
It just means that Shedeur Sanders is in the quarterback room. That's what it means. And he gets an opportunity probably to compete for a roster spot in Cleveland. I don't think that Todd Monken's walking into Cleveland saying, look, we're going to build this around Sanders. I don't even think that Sanders will come into the competition there, if there is one, as penciled in as the number 2 guy. I just don't think that'll be the case. I think they'll be in the veteran market looking for a quarterback that has more playing experience.
Do you agree with that? You think Cleveland is looking for a veteran quarterback to bring in and reset with?
Oh, absolutely. They're going to add competition to that room. This thing is not going to be handed to Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, everybody's in. Brand new head coach. Everybody's job's up. They got a ton of offensive linemen who are free agents. They got a lot of work to do in Cleveland.
They drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round last year too. His name doesn't even seem to come up much.
Yeah.
We'll see. Tim,
QB room.
Well, let's go to Arizona. That's an interesting one. With Kyler Murray now, Mike LaFleur is the new head coach. What do we expect Kyler Murray's future to look like?
I think Kyler Murray becomes available. I think the Cardinals are moving on from Kyler Murray, and I think he'll be one of those names that's out there as, somebody that whether you need competition, whether it's, in Minnesota or, places like that where you're looking at Kyler Murray. Now, what I would say is the name that will come up, I think quite a bit, will be Malik Willis. I think that'll be, something that's talked about quite a bit as Arizona looks to the future at quarterback.
Malik Willis, of course, playing these years under Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. Now his brother taking over there in Arizona. How about Kyler Murray? What does his future look like?
I'm just not sure. I'm not sure I agree quite yet with that. It's a massive number for the Cardinals. I want to say it's close to $100 million. There's a lot of football business with this Kyler Murray thing. And so I don't think it's nearly as clean as we're going to move on for Kyler Murray. I think that's probably part of the job interview was could you rehab him or bring him back to the building and back to the fray?
What do you think?
I would say it would be more likely to happen for this simple reason. We've seen in recent years where teams have said, let's just eat the cap. Let's just eat the cap space now. Who expects the Arizona Cardinals to really be all that good in year 1, with Mike LaFleur? It's better to just eat it now. We've seen the Denver Broncos do it with Russell Wilson. So eat it, deal with it, and then move on from there.
I'll be interested to see who it is that decides to bring in Kyler Murray. Obviously has a skill set, and we'll see if there's a team out there that buys in. Last one, Tim. Matt Ryan and the Falcons. He's now running that organization, for those unaware. Not committing to Michael Penix as their starter yet for next year. What do you think the quarterback situation in Atlanta looks like?
I think they have to bring in competition because of the injury situation with Penix, which is why Matt Ryan is not committing to it. I think this, unfortunately, because of the injury history, is trending towards a situation like the Colts were in, which is, look, you may love the prospect, you may love the young quarterback, but if he can't stay healthy that you can rely on him and build around him, you're forced to bring somebody in that can play when that guy gets hurt. Otherwise, you're going to get fired. And think of the perspective Stefanski Stefanski's coming into this with. He actually had a decent team in Cleveland, but he never had a quarterback, and that was the problem. That was the death of his opportunity in Cleveland. It's hard to become a head coach twice when you didn't have success the first time. I think you have to go down swinging, trying to find somebody that can give you starter level play out of the quarterback position, and you can't do it with a guy that's rehabbing a knee.
And I mean,
this is interesting. This is an interesting. Kirk Cousins, they redid his contract to probably help him move. But Stefanski won with Joe Flacco in Cleveland. Does he like that fit? Because Tim makes a great point. At that position, availability is the greatest ability. We say that a lot in the NFL. But at that position in particular, your quarterback can't be missing 4 or 5 games a year. And so Penix has either got to get healthy or they got to move on. This is the most interesting because their team and the division they're in, they can make noise right now. They could be the Patriots, right? They have that kind of talent. It's going to be interesting for me to see how they fit it.
Yeah, I think that's my point there. I look at the division. Like, Atlanta can come in and make noise immediately because they have talent on both sides of the ball. Yeah. They got to figure out the quarterback position, but this division is definitely winnable in year 1 of Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah. You would think, because the division was won under 500. They actually tied for the division lead and lost out in a tiebreaker. It's a shame with Penix because he is such an incredibly gifted thrower of the football, but he had multiple knee surgeries in college.
Couldn't you forecast that, like even coming into the league with all the injuries?
It was a stunning. I mean, early in that draft process, people were talking about him in the second round. Because of all the injury concerns, they took him 8th.
And let me say this. When you get into certain offenses and quarterbacks because of injury, you watch them do like pistol and get things and I'm assuming you're doing that because of his limited ability to stretch plays. That shrinks your offense. Like before we get really into the weeds, it makes it very difficult to run the football and be productive if your quarterback's limited because of injury. And not just making it on the field, it's how productive you can be on the field.
Yeah, they're a team I think worth watching.
No doubt.
There's so much there that no one's been able to unlock. We'll see if Kevin Stefanski brought a key. All right, as Robert Kraft joining Bill Belichick as Hall of Fame snubs, that got Stephen A. Smith thinking yesterday about how all this might eventually impact Tom Brady too.
And based on the trend, they're going to do it to Tom Brady too. It makes no sense whatsoever. As far as I'm concerned, it's the Hall of Shame. It doesn't even matter anymore. A matter of fact, I'm going to make an executive decision. Once we finish this topic right here today, we ain't talking about the Hall of Fame in football no more. It doesn't have any credibility. It is a waste of time to be talking about on the national airwaves. They are nothing.
Okay, so interesting perspective. So we can take 2 separate parts of that. One is whether the credibility of the Pro Football Hall of Fame has taken a hit with Bill Belichick in particular, and I think Robert Kraft almost equally so, not being voted in. That's a topic unto itself. Let's put that to the side for a minute. The other is, do we believe that what is happening here is the voters are holding something against the Patriots, whether it is all of the winning that they did, which might have inspired some backlash, whether it is some of the nefarious stuff, the Spygates and the Deflategates of the world, whether it is a little bit of the institutional arrogance that people perceived, particularly Bill Belichick's sort of unfriendliness. What would you say if that was at play here?
Yeah, then Tom Brady would be concerned because, the Deflategate's going to be laid at his feet. It's not going to be attributed to Robert Kraft nor will to Bill Belichick, right? Quarterbacks, I played in that era, y'all. They all got it how they wanted it, right? Like they made sure the ball fit how they wanted it. That was what everybody did, right? They scuffed them. When ball comes out of a box, it's waxy. They're not playing with that. Tim knows better than anybody. No quarterback's going playing with a brand new ball. So whatever that is, it is. They got in trouble. They paid whatever it is. If that's the reason that no one's getting in, then it would stand. Tom Brady should be concerned. I just, first of all, that all 50 didn't vote for Bill Belichick blew me away, in and of itself. And now you're talking about Robert Kraft. Let me just put this in perspective for you. As good as Tom Brady is, right, and he's been unbelievably the best in our game. If you look at Robert Kraft as an organization alone, he has went to 11 Super Bowls in 32 years. He goes once every 3 years, basically. And he has done it with 3 different head coaches, 3 different starting quarterbacks. As an organization, you cannot discuss the NFL without including the New England Patriots and Robert Kraft, and somehow so both of those guys are massive snubs. I would put Tom Brady in that exact category. And so it blows me away that we are where we are, and it does lessen their credibility. And you played for him. Yeah. And listen, Kraft is not the kind of owner who's hands off. I mean, that dude, I've heard him being in the building. He's working out with guys. Like, where he is, he did a ton for that organization.
What do you think of all D. Wood?
No, I mean, listen, obviously I played for the organization for 5 years, beginning of the dynasty. It was, it's just crazy to think that Bill Belichick, the greatest head coach in the NFL history, wasn't in the first ballot. It's crazy that Robert Kraft, it seemed like all this time later, hasn't been in the Hall of Fame. Again, you talked about it. Robert Kraft has owned the team for 32 years. Every third year, the Patriots are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What more do you need from?
And Jerry Jones is in, right? They voted Jerry Jones in a few years ago.
And multiple other owners are in also. Tim Hasselbeck, I've not had a chance to get your perspective on all this. Go.
Yeah. Listen, he's hired 3 head coaches that have taken teams to a Super Bowl. Right? I mean, just like everyone knows how hard that is. Like, listen, that's just one aspect of what he's done as an owner. And, in the free agency era, the fact that his organization had the sustained success that they did. Look, Brady, Belichick, all of that stuff, that's great. But, think of all the other players. You had guys like Damian Woody go chase the money and leave. Well, you had to replace them with good players to have success after guys like that left. What they did, it just was remarkable because it wasn't always the same exact thing in terms of the formula to have success. So, I mean, listen, it's preposterous that Belichick doesn't get in right away. I think I feel a similar way about Kraft. If this is the path that they're heading down with Brady, it's absurd.
Of course it is. But the good news for Tom Brady is that isn't the path. The fact that those guys didn't get in has absolutely nothing to do with the Patriots. In fact, it has nothing to do with them. It has to do with a procedure that makes absolutely no sense. And if there's any good news that comes from this, it is that a light has been cast upon how ridiculously bad the procedure